As we come to the end of the Shmita year, and we are finishing our series of classes that started before the Shmita year began, I ran across an address given by Hertzog in Tes Elul Tafshin Gimel in the middle of the Second World War at the opening of a convention for Apol Hadati, the religious workers in Yirushalayim. And the beginning, the first paragraph of his address very much relates to mitzvahs teluyos ba'aretz, as he says explicitly, and the appropriate relationship we have to have for those mitzvahs, and also to Shmita. So he begins in Parsha Shoftim. It says, "Ki savo el Aretz asher Hashem Elokecha nosen lecha viirsheta וישבתה בה." When you come into the land that the Lord your God gave to you, and you inherit it and you live on it. פעמים רבות כשתורתנו הקדושה מדברת על ביאת ישראל הרצוג היא מדגישה. Many times when our holy Torah talks about the Jewish people entering Eretz Israel, it stresses Asher Hashem Elokecha nosen lach, that the Lord your God gave you. Kashem shetem Yisrael imcha am kechol amim, just like you, Israel, are not a nation like all other nations are. Kach artzacha enu eretz kekolcha artzos. So too, the land is not a land like all other lands. Bein shetak koveshotak yimei Yoshua ben Nun, whether it is true that you have conquered it, like in the times of Yehoshua ben Nun, ubein shetamit yeshevela hakibiyimenu anu, or you're living in it like our days. He, of course, was before the establishment of the state. Matana hi lecha me'akodesh baruch hu. It is a gift from God, from the Holy One, blessed be He. V'kashem shebematana natnos kahuna amru chazal. And just like our rabbi said in Chulin concerning the gifts given to Kohanim, Kohanim mishulchan gavoa zaku, that the Kohanim acquired this from God's table, literally from the table on high. Kach Eretz Yisrael hi matana mishulchan gavoa. So too the land of Israel is a gift from God's table. It's interesting that when you talk about truma that the Kohanim get, only Kohanim can eat it because they're eating at God's table. However, Meiser, which is actually given to the Kohen owns it, unlike truma that the Levi owns the Meiser, unlike the truma that is not owned by the Kohen, it's owned by God. He can have anyone eat it once he's taken possession of it. He can have guests eat it with him. Whereas the Kohen, only Kohanim can eat that. So he's saying, Eretz Yisrael, it's God's property that we're allowed to use in certain ways. V'zoi achas hakavanos shel hamitzvos teluyos ba'aretz. And this is one of the intents of the mitzvahs of the land. Kedei lahashrish b'libeinu et ikar hachivani hazeh, so that we have it rooted in our hearts, this principal idea. She'eretz Yisrael hi mikudeshes mikol artzos, that the land of Israel is sanctified more than any other lands. Shia aretz asher Hashem Elokecha nosen lach, that it is the land that God has given you. Kavar hisbir lanu Rabbeinu Ashturei haprachi. Rabbeinu Ashturei haprachi has already explained to us B'sefer Hayakar Kaftor Perach, in his Sefer Kaftor Perach. He was in the time of the early Rishonim from Provence. Shekdushas Eretz Yisrael atzma yisi, that the sanctity of Eretz Yisrael is independent. Kolomar, that is to say, Shav shebizman shekama me hamitzos hatuluyos ba'aretz eino nohagas mina Torah el midrabanan, even at a time when many of the mitzvahs of the Torah only apply rabbinically. Kedusha sa kayemes, nonetheless, the sanctity of the land is still existing. Hine mitzvah Shmita. Look at the mitzvah of the Sabbatical Year, Lemashal, for example. Nirei lachor laor hanimuk shemasru lanu chazal. From that which our rabbis have told us, mitzvah klalis olamis. It's a worldwide mitzvah in certain ways. Aval gamhi nisyachada rak l'Eretz Yisrael. But in other ways, it's only unique to Eretz Yisrael, meaning the release of debts and so on occurs every place, but the resting of the land only occurs in Eretz Hem zichorna l'mbracha amru. Their memory should be a blessing, has said. Ma tam shel shvis. What is the rationale for shvis? Zeru she'esh v'tishmitu sheva. You will sow the land for 6 years and you will rest on the seventh. Tedu she'aretz lihi. So that you will know that the land belongs to me. It's a Gemara in Sanhedrin. Ein kan hamuvan kidei shetidu kadur haaretz shali hu. It's not that you should know that the globe of the world belongs to me, belongs to God. Shani barati et haaretz v'et hashamayim. That I created the land and the heavens, God says. Shim ken hayta tzricha mitzvah linhog gam b'chutz laaretz. Because if that were true, and all of this were equally relevant to the entire globe, the mitzvah of Shmita, the resting of the land of the mitzvah of Shmita, should apply every place in the world. But the reason for this is that you should know that your land is mine. So that you will not remove it from your thought, the most basic principles. The land that your Lord your God gives you. So that you know, like the parable of our rabbis, that this is the palace of the king. Rabbeinu Bachai says this in his commentary on Dveri. She kula kodesh, kula mikdash, that durim yedia zot, that it is all holy. The whole of it is a sanctuary. And when these ideas penetrate, zot tisidruba et chayehem miras Torah kula, then you will be able to properly organize the keeping of the entire Torah. Bein mitzvah bein adam l'makon, bein b'mitzvah bein adam l'chavero. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about mitzvahs between man and God or between man and other man. B'yeser Torah, in Eretz Yisrael, you can keep it with more purity. B'yeser zerizus, with more scrupulously. The yeser kedusha, and more sanctity. Beruach zeh alinu livnos haaretz. It is with this spirit that we come to build the land. Achshab shezachinu lekach. Now that we have merited for this. Achar shama krov lalpaim shnad. After it has been desolate for close to 2,000 years. This is, I think, a good way for us to think about the Shmita. The mitzvah stalis ba'aretz gives us an appropriate approach to Eretz Israel. Several people have asked me about the correct text for a Pruzbul, and there's significant debate upon it. What we should do, however, based upon the Mishnah and based in the Gadol in Eretz Israel, always has 3 of their dayanim form a special based in for the accepting a Pruzbul. You don't have to be in front of it. You can read this in front of any 3 people that you want, and they can sign the bottom. You fill in your name, and that's it. And I will include that also in the sources at the bottom of the YouTube channel. Everyone should have a kasiva v'chasima tova. They should be written and signed for a wonderful new year.